So, good afternoon and welcome to the Doon Kennedy Aquatic Centre in Hobart. With me today in the commentary box is Tom from Australia. Welcome.
G'day, first time in the commentary box. Should kick it off well with Ian.
So, my name's Ian Curtin. I'm the U23 USA men's coach. We've finished for the day, so I've been roped into coming here and helping out with some of the commentary. There's just over 4 minutes before the start of this game. Australia versus USA in the men's 19 championship. This is the final round robin for both teams, and Australia will be in the white sticks and white caps, and USA will be in the black sticks and black caps. So Tom is actually sitting out. He's number 11.
Yeah, number 11, the big 1-1.
So you'll try and be neutral here in the commentary box, will you?
Yeah, definitely. Just a bit of banter to the boys if they muck up.
So have you got any penalty system going on for timeouts or anything?
Oh, yeah. So what we have is like when one of the boys gets sent out, we're getting a fine system built up. It's going well throughout the comp. I think we've got Aiden DeToit. He's leading the fines with them. A lot of sin bins and a lot of mucking around recently.
Oh, so I know with my USA men, we had a lot of concern over the penalty fine system. I was going for a scoop of Vegemite for every fine, but once the boys got here and actually tasted it, they were definitely not keen on that.
Yeah, Vegemite, you got to have a particular taste for it. It's one of those things you're either with or against it.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Wellington, so I'm fairly used to it.
Yeah, I'm more of a Vegemite, no butter on toast kind of person. You know, just got that petite taste.
Yeah, that's always good. So there's just over 2 minutes here, and the USA are on the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the screen, and Australia are on the left-hand side. So the USA only bringing 10 players to this championships, while Australia have 12. Who's the other player sitting out today for you?
The other player sitting out for us today is Liam Quinn. He's got a sore leg, and Aiden DeToit has hopped in for Liam.
Okay. Did he hurt it in the pool or mucking about?
Yeah, I think he hurt in the last game when we were playing South Africa. He was really giving it all. He was gloving it, lots of chopping, you know.
Any time in the sin bin for him?
Yeah, he got a minute.
Oh, right.
Got a minute. Didn't say he did anything though.
Oh, of course not. So, as well as participants from 10 countries, we've also got referees here from 10 different countries. So it's actually quite an international event here. This is up from 8 at the last World Champs in Spain. So you can do a shout out back to
Yeah, g'day Darby. Hopefully you're gonna watch the full of the match, and should be a good one.
So we're actually coming down to the 15-second mark on this. Both teams ready to go. You can see the referees with their hands raised, indicating that all the players, the puck is in the middle, and the officials are ready to start as we go down to the buzzer. As we see Australia looking to drive it up this close wall here with plenty of support. Looks like they've got 3 players down supporting that, and they very quickly look to drive it wide, trying to spread out the USA team there.
Yeah, what we see there is like we're really focusing on getting the switch and getting it straight out of the box play by other teams, try and drive it up the wall and just try and move them around.
So you can try and stretch them apart and get some gaps so you can swim through.
Yeah, so when the plays, it's all bobbled up and like we can't really move it up the wall. So what we do, we just switch it from one side to the other and hopefully gain some space where no one is.
Yeah, as we see Australia looking to drive really close at the goal very early on, but it looks like USA managing just to keep it out. USA driving just with 1 player and no support there, but the US very slow to get down there, and it looks like Australia very quick again to swing it across the pool. As we see gloving there called by the referee. This will relieve a little bit of pressure for the USA, but you can see Australia lining up very close to that line, and they'll be looking to attack.
So I called.
So we've had a change here in the commentary box. Moving towards Dave now. Welcome, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, just a bit of a. He had to go out there and he wanted to go out there and support his team, which he should be. So I took his space. He was sort of anxious to get out there and support the team as he should be. Looks like the Australian has been kicked out. Hugo's being always extremes his dominance right at the beginning of the game, but hey, if it happens, he's right there on top of it. I can tell you, he sees everything in the pool. It moves, it shakes, and by the looks of it, it's number 1. That would be Mason Gillespie, the captain of the team. Obviously, didn't like what he saw in there, and Mason's going to be sitting for 1 minute. Well, we'll check whether it's a 1 or 2, but he's sitting down anyways, and he's rethinking what he actually did, and he'll be supported. But the team will be out there supporting what they're doing as the team regroups, and they're still forcing the U.S. team back in the background.
Yeah, I mean, they're still looking to move the puck wide, trying to spread this USA team apart, even though they've only got 5 players in the pool. And, you know, in some of the previous games, we've actually seen 5 players score on 6. So
hey, it's been not just previous, it's almost consistent throughout the whole tournament. And it really surprises me, but it must go to the mental preparation or the mental status of the teams where it's 6. So it's like, okay, well, we got 6 here. We should be able to move it around and probably extend themselves a little further where the 5 tightening up and they're actually focused really hard. So I don't know. I've seen teams winning with 5, 4, 3 players in the pool constantly, as the Americans are getting an advantage puck here where they'll get an opportunity to gain possession and then see what they can mount. But unfortunately, hey, it looks like a number 5 for the U.S. team is being asked to set up.
And that's Raymond Dye. Didn't quite see the call there, but it's, again, against Australia. So
yeah, he's the vice captain, and he's sitting there. He's shaking his head, too. But the referees were quite clear on their signal, but we just didn't get it. And it looks like we got a timeout, is it? A referee's timeout, and we're all ready to go. Chief referee in charge is indicating the game can commence, and off they go. And they're even Stevens for a little while. Again, we're still not sure whether it's 2 or 1 for Mason, but I'm pretty sure I saw 1 for Raymond.
So fairly even start at the moment, although Australia were applying a lot of pressure initially when they had 6 players. And another call there by the referee, again against Australia here. So these penalties are actually giving the US a bit of a chance here and being able to stop the Australian swings.
Yeah, look, I think the Australians better regroup and reconsider what they're doing. Listen to the referee calls, because he's right there. He can see it. He's like a hawk. You know, Hugo the Hawk, I'm going to nickname him. He's right there calling everything. And He's making sure that it's a fair game, and that's what the referees are meant for. The great onset with these three rotating referees, so they get a different view at one in front of the puck, one behind the puck, and one looking at the overall side. I think it's the best thing for hockey. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I mean, it's always very difficult because they each see a different angle. It's very difficult with the players on the ground, in the middle, and on the surface as well. As we see Australia again get numbers down, the US also got numbers down, and a big drive there by the USA player, but it looks like the last defender for Australia, their number 9.
Was that 9? I think it was probably
No,
number
6.
Bailey Anner. That's okay. It was just he had the line on the bottom, not at the top, mate. That's okay. Hey, look, the U.S. are putting some extreme pressure here, and I think Mason's joined them, and I think they're both back at full strength as the vice captain and the captain from respective teams have joined in. As the Australians are under pressure, and let's see if they can get behind each other and support each other.
I mean, as we see one of the Australians nip out to the sub box there, getting some fresh legs, and that'll be helpful to try and get them to drive down that wall. But
Australians looking to move a 45 off the wall, but the Americans, nice reverse tackle off that player there, and I think that's number 3. Was that number 3 there, Ryan Stew? Yeah, it was. Nice curl. You still got the puck backed up by number 4, Quantum Zoo, the captain. But the Australians regained the possession, looking to do something with it, but probably a bit slow, moving it a bit wide. But he's got on the outside. He's opened up. The Americans are trying to hustle back in defense and slide across, but they better hurry up. But the players who covered it have slowed the play down enough to allow the defense to get repositioned in behind them.
Yeah, you saw the Australian players get there very quickly to support on the surface, but the US must have been chasing that underneath the surface and stop that puck. I mean, these last 3 minutes have probably been all USA.
Absolutely, and the tables have turned from the beginning of the game. But that's the game of our hockey that we love playing, and things go back and forth like that. And we got the, it's all paddled up on the other side, and that's a long swim. But look, he looks like a swimmer because he's got a nice, long, elongated stroke. But I tell you what, that's a long slub. Probably the effort he put in to do it. But it looks like we got a break on the way to a goal. We have a clear break by someone. I reckon that's young Isaac Bridley there, but I'll be corrected if I'm wrong. Yeah, it is. It is the Dreadlock King. Number 13, Isaac Bridley, wearing his one of his heroes numbers that he plays in. I don't know who he likes with the hair, but he's certainly the Rasta boy.
Yeah, that was a great swim. Unfortunate time for the USA to have a player swimming out. I typically tell my players that if they are swimming out, they've got to keep an eye on the play in case they're needed.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you hit it right there. They were down to 5, and I'm not sure where he was playing, but if he was a back player, then unfortunately he didn't. Looks like we got a timeout being called by someone. She's calling a number 5, something or other. And just for the record, Isaac Bridley, long time, is the son of Rowan Bridley, and we've got an Australian in the penalty box. Obviously, I'm not sure what's going on here, but number 10, Roy Trumbull, has been penalized. And we also have number 5, the vice captain, has a repeat performance, Raymond Da.
Yeah.
This is I didn't see what happened there. Did you catch that one?
No, I was about to say that as well.
Yeah, that's what happened when you have far too many cameras to look at, and just I think it's Rowan Bridley has played in a number of Australian teams, and he's passing the baton to his son in that, and Isaac and the Australians are pressing again. We're 5-on-5. The Australians are deep in the American stack. But I think was there something being called? I think I could hear a tweeter going. Is that the wrong? I get so confused which one's which. I'm sitting in the captain's chair, which is very low, so I can't see the deck.
And it's also very noisy here with the commentators on the other game as well.
Yeah. That Jaime and the French guy, they're really loud, aren't they?
Well, but it's still 0-0 in the other game. So
it's very tight game as it is here, and Australians right in front of goal. A nice loopy little flick in there. I don't recommend loopy flicks because exactly what's happened, he's knocked it down. But I see a waving by our referee, Hugo. It's a bit of an obstruction. He doesn't like what that person did. Somewhere there was an obstruction or something going on. So while the one player, number 10, Roy Trumbull, is getting ready to get in, we've got another player coming to sit in his bench with him, and that's Aiden Tewitt. that has been asked for 1 minute for, I think it was obstruction of some sort. He was obviously tussling with the American backline in front of goal. So
as the USA get back up to 6 players and Australia gets back to 5, but we see the Australians swimming straight into the sub bench.
Yeah, obviously he was maybe he was a back player, and the Australians always typically have 2 forwards, 3 backs, and there's I always say some of the backs can play forward as well, but in this situation he's been asked to come straight to the bench so they can get a designated forward up in the play to get some keep the attack going. But they'll probably they're 5 down, aren't they? So they'll have 2 forwards, 3 backs in there. So he's probably needed to get in there and have a bit of a rest.
So after a good drive from the US there, it looks like Australia have managed to push it all the way almost into the USA corner there. And out of the corner, they look to do that 45 right for the goal again.
Yeah, I'm not I think that player should have, I'm not sure who it was, but he's gone chasing the puck. He should have driven the puck into the goal instead of looking for a nice loopy, easy flick. At this level, flicks into tray inside that 3-meter D just don't go in with all the numbers on the bottom.
Yeah.
It either hits somebody or he picks it out of the air with the greatest of ease.
Yeah, I mean, I always try and tell my players if they're going to do a flick into the middle, it has to be a low pass because it's a lot harder to hit down. The big loopy ones, they're very easy to swat down.
Yeah, they're like little butterflies, aren't they, when they flop up there? The low sliders that go in like a rocket. I saw a lovely example of that in one of the games. One of the Kiwi girls just drove it in, and it was like almost flat. That slap shot. I'll relate to flat shot. It was rocketing flat, and it just hit the back of the tray, right into the tray. No one was going to stop that. I don't care how good they are. It was always going to be a body in the way. We look like as a timeout's been called
by Australia.
By Australia, was it? Yes. And the coach is out there, Steve Clary. He's pointing here, pointing there. He's pointing everywhere and saying, "Boys, come on. We're only 1 up, and we should be making this a lot easier for ourselves. Let's make sure these goals go in." And especially on the American side, I think it's Holland J. He'll be sitting out there saying, "Boys, we're in this game. Let's keep doing what we're doing, but let's get it out of our end."
Yeah, I mean, they both had some good drives. Australia, the only one to capitalize on that in these first 10 minutes. But as you say, it looks like anyone's game. No one really looking to dominate at the moment. It's been fairly back and forward, but Australia with a great position here.
Yeah, they look like they're going to set up for a set play. Good time for a timeout to have a set play as the puck is lobbed in and straight away into the tray. That must have been a lovely. We're looking for the referees to confer what's going on. But we've got Isaac Bridley there clapping hands with his fellow teammate. That looked like number 4 there, Thomas Marsh, who swinging back. But we're trying to get who scored the goal. And, the camera's focusing on Thomas Marsh. It's either him or Isaac Bridley. We'll get back to you shortly on that. But I can tell you one thing. It is 2-0 for Australia as the game recommences. And keeping a theme on here, I don't think any of the boys, and this is, as we were talking about earlier, I don't think the boys have any creativity in their minds at all, because I'm seeing 2 water bottle crates out there, and they both look like they're from milk crates. And unfortunately, the American one is floating away isolated because it's totally feeling left out in the cold on this one, and it's deserting the ship. But the Australian one is just another crate with a couple of floaties that are floating away.
Yeah, and it looks like Holland might be going to get it, but I can't quite see peering through the window here.
No, it's still floating there. There's the assistant coach is sucking on the bottom down there, trying to see what's going on as the floaty crate goes over his head, and he's missing out on all the action. But the Americans have responded well for that against that goal and pressuring the the Australian defense deep in attack, and let's see if they can mount something. Let's hope they can bring it out, swing it around, and find some gaps in that Australian defense.
Yeah, and you saw one of the Australian wings just go up for one breath and then straight back down on defense, looking to drive it along that far wall, but still seems to be caught up a little bit. And we've got a gloving call there against Australia. And it looks like the USA now are calling a timeout here. Holland probably just going to talk to his boys. just to get them a little bit of a breather here, as it's been a pretty frantic pace so far. To try and maybe also get a set play here going, as they're fairly close to the Australian goal. But both teams looking to sort of get a breather.
Yeah, it's interesting. The drink bottles just left afloat. They're not even using it at their timeout. Was that the U.S. timeout?
Yep.
Okay, so the drink bottles just let high and dry, so they've given up on it as well. That's just amazing. The drink bottle is probably one of the most important part of this whole game for longevity. I know it's the end of the day and probably last game of the day. You got finals tomorrow, don't they?
Yeah. So this is the last round robin game for both teams, and one of the key things here is hydration. It won't hit you over the one day, but because they've been playing tournament hockey since last Friday, which I think was 6 days ago.
Yeah, we're on day 6. You're right. It's been a long time here, and I know we've got our bottles sitting here and we're hydrating. If there's a camera in here, we'd see lots of bottles around here, water bottles.
Correct.
Nothing else. But the Australians, the timeout's been expired by the U.S. and the Australians looking to move at a quick 45 across the air. And we've got, he's tucked it back in, but he was being harassed by two dedicated number 4, the captain of the American team. I think that's Quantum, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was right on his tail. Stroke for stroke, kick for kick. Isaac Bridley couldn't lose him, tried to drop it back, but he still remained in possession to get it back to his teammate.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing is that the Americans are recycling, and they're really hustling on this thing. Gee, and they're pressuring the Australians as the referees see something they don't like, and they're going to come over, grab the puck, repositioning. And I'm not seeing what the call was, but the referee, where's the chief? Chief is asking in number 10. Number 10, we got 1 minute for unsportsmanlike. I'm not sure. She's pointing to the U.S. bench. Is that correct? Yeah. Number 10? I saw 10 fingers. But no, she's blowing it. No, she's saying, not you. You can play. Yeah, I want timeout. Chief referee. She's not happy at all. She wants that to go to the referee.
I think it may have been a subbing foul, possibly, but...
Yeah. She's asking something or other for something or other. I'm not sure what she's saying. Now we have no one. Oh, yeah, number 10 is sitting out. Number 10, Ben Lowe, is sitting out for some reason. She's just asked the referees to come over and clarify what the heck's going on. And I think it might have been the assistant coach was far too he needs to stay behind his team's bench. That assistant coach is sitting in the back. The rules state that he can't enter the court at any time, but he has to stay behind. And we had that clarification this morning by Stewart. So if he was drifting far away over, she was just saying, please, go on, move back. And the Australians have ripped the puck off their goal tray and making a fast descent up the side. And that was number 7. Again, that was Hunter Jones, one of the West Australian players who joined the Australian team. We've got a long breakaway. Are they going to make it all the way? And I think he has. Let's see what the referees say. Yeah, referees were signaling goals here, and that was scored by number 3, Jack Hopkins.
So Jack from Sydney. I've actually played with Jack.
Have you?
When I came for the Wollongong Fours in March.
You were down for the Fours, were you?
Yeah.
What was the theme this year? Was it zombie? That was the year before.
I think it was rock and roll this year.
Rock and roll this year. Yeah, I like the Wollongong Fours. I was one of the first players. Played in the first Wollongong Fours way back a long time ago. Wollongong Fours has been going on a very long time.
Yeah, my friend Marion Cresser. She's been inviting me to come down for at least the last 6 years. So finally this year I managed to come down. So
Australian, but ex-Kiwi.
Yeah.
Or is she a Kiwi living in Australia?
She got Australian citizenship a couple of years ago, I believe. Yeah.
I thought so. I wasn't 100% sure. So that's why I'm looking at you and ensuring that you can clarify as the game has already begun. Australia takes a lead with about 30 seconds left to go in this half, 3-0 over the U.S. And I'm just looking at the fixtures here. You probably talked about these early. U.S. is just ahead of Australia on the standings, but head-to-head this morning, the U.S. is ahead. But in terms of the games played, Australia's won, and so has the Americans. But there was one draw, so that's why the U.S. are ahead. This morning, I think we saw the the Australian boys get ahead of the team, and I'm just looking to see if find the U.S. boys. It's probably on the other court, and they probably haven't filled in their sheet because they're lazy. As we enter halftime here, and so it was a bit of changing to the draw I've got here, but they're all now vying for that spot, and I reckon I think there's 9 teams in this. So my understanding of how that'll work is that tomorrow morning, whoever's in 8th and 9th will play off for the opportunity to play against the number 1 ranked team, and at the moment that's Great Britain.
Wow.
So if I was Australia, I wouldn't want to be there, to be perfectly honest.
Yep.
And I'm sure the United States doesn't want to be there either. Is that correct?
No, correct.
So as the coaches have a bit of chat, we got Steve Cleary in the water having a chat to his boys, and we also have Holland there talking to his boys. Look, 3-0. It's not an impossible comeback. It's given the play, I think the U.S. probably on about 60-40 dominated in the possession of the ends. What do you think?
Yeah, I think probably there was quite a bit of back and forward. I think the U.S. actually did a lot better driving into the Australian corner, but Australia really, really quick trying to get that puck wide, get that out to the support players, and you saw that great goal there. Was swimming half the pool. I think Australia have got the speed on these USA boys.
Yeah, I think that was evident. I'm pretty sure that other than the set puck play, the other 2 goals were scored on fast breakaways where the Australians were being pressured by the American attack, and they just did a couple of moves in the middle of the pool, released a player, and he got outside the American defense and swam it to the other end of the pool. And that's what you're saying, is that the quickness of the Australians, the American defense was caught flat, square, whatever you want to call it, and they couldn't respond to catch it up.
I mean, it just shows the depth of the Australian players. I think most of them played in the under-19s before.
Yeah, look, I'm looking through the list here, and there are some, but there isn't many. The last Worlds, I don't think. Well, I can look at about 5 of the players that hadn't played before, but maybe the rest have. I'm unclear. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah, but some of them, they were very young, and I think the team's still pretty young at the moment, and they still have some development go. If you compare them to sort of what we've seen around the pool deck with the French and some of the older Kiwis, and that I've seen, the size of our Australians, we're not giants.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with the US boys. This is the second time that the USA has brought an under-19 team to the World Champs. The first time was in Spain last time. As we count down the last of the 3 minutes of halftime, as both teams are ready to get underway.
Yeah, so they weren't in the first one in Netherlands, and the other one, which was it's off my brain now. What was the other one? Where was that? The second one. It was Dutch, the first one, and then we had was it in Castellón was the last one in Spain. And boy, we're looking at us blank. Hey, we'll get someone on that. I'm sure one of our chatters are there. Hey, Debbie Gillespie. Hi there. I see you on the chat there. That's Debbie. That's Masons, Gillespie, and Debbie. What a lot of people, Australians, would know. Debbie, has been in an Australian teams many times, haven't you, Deb? And I remember my first coaching role in the Worlds was looking after her husband, and you guys were going to Canada. So, well done. Thanks sending the message to Jack. But your boy's playing really well. He's finally gotten over his flu, and he's looking better each day. Good to have you on board, Deb.
So the Australian team, again, driving into that court. Well, I think this is the first time they've actually driven right into the corner. The US trying to get some support, looking for a drive out, but Australia were providing a lot of pressure, and they looked to swing it right across the other side of the pool to the goal channel, and then looks like it's just being caught up a little bit. But you can see the Australian support down then as they're driving it into the goal again, and we're just waiting, and it looks like the referees were playing advantage, and it is called a goal for number.
Oh, that's right.
14.
Yeah, I think we're getting the signal. Number 14, Luke Sutcliffe, and I think that's one of the sons of David Sutcliffe. Are we thinking? That's what I'm looking for. Elwood, yeah. Elwood is, everyone looked at me and went, Elwood? And I said, yeah, that's his name's actually David Sutcliffe. And, yeah. And you're right, Debbie. There are a lot of mums and dads playing here. Louise, I forgot about Louise, is the mother of Isaac Bridley. Long-standing hockey family like yourself, and right you are. And Eden's got I don't think her boys, maybe her older boy is playing here in the Australian team as well. So,
yeah, Jack's mum Eden, I've actually played with her as well.
yeah, she was used to live in Victoria, moved up to New South Wales some time ago and the families moved up there. Her other two, her other son and her daughter are up here too, and Eden's been helping out behind the scenes, making sure all the scores are updated and stuff like that. Long time support. Jeb, I don't know how many worlds you've been to, but I know Eden's probably been to 7 or 8 of them. But hey, John, thank you for that. Yeah, I was looking for the Hungary Worlds. That's what it was. I should have known better because 4 courts and all those people in Hungary. That was a really big event for us. Unfortunately, they. If we look back on the Egar pool up in Hungary, they had a bit of a mishap in the pool, and that outdoor pool became sort of unusable, really. But we still had to play some games out there, but they were done. They moved the majority of the games into the Hungary pool, where it was really nice. As we're looking at a referee timeout, and Omar there is a busy gentleman who actually looks after 6AA, another New South Welshman, Colombian by birth, but he's actually resides in New South Wales and designs all his gear. And if you haven't had a chance to go up there, all those local people in the town, go and have a shout as number 7 for the U.S. team.
Zach Outram.
Now,
number
Calvin,
7.
I think. Yeah, I think it's number 7 is Calvin. He's sitting down and he's feeling pretty dejected there. Calvin, come on, lift your head there, buddy. Come on. It's only 4-0, and geez. You make a mistake, the referee saw it. I know you don't believe you did, but you got to get back in there.
No, I think what happened, David, was the referee couldn't see the number of the player that he thought was infringing and pulled one of the Australians back, so they had to send someone out. So he took it.
Right. And as we speak, we've got another timeout being called by the referees as Isaac Bridley has to go sit in the sin bin. I know Lou, long-stand player playing for Australia as well. She won't be happy sitting there because she never spent any time. Unlike her husband, Rowan, he spent a fair bit of time in there. I think everyone would agree. But he sort of got a mix of the bloods in there. Where, he scored a goal, and the yeah, hi, I'm John. Yeah, I agree. I was being kind. That outdoor pool in Hungary was hell. Yeah, that's right. Bye. Sorry.
So as we watch the Americans take an advantage puck, probably right near halfway as they look to drive it up that far wall, but the Australians down on defense, both teams down to 5 players right now. Australia's really controlled this game, I would say, but
I don't think they had pure ownership. I think the Americans had passages in there. But what the Australians have done better than the Americans today is that when they sort of go on a break, there's lots of numbers, and they're actually making the linkages. And the Americans haven't had the linkages up front to support the run and the continual run. They've made individual efforts, and they've backed each other up, but they haven't linked together as a team. And I think that's the big difference between the two teams today. And, I think the styles, this is a very young American team, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, and I think that comes with maturity, where some of these Australian players, being young, but they actually do play in, and they take a little more, and I know the Americans play in more of a corridor type arrangement, where in Australia we play in a very open style, and which you see the pucks going, and it's really the initiative by the Australians moving it from one side to the other rather than the Americans. But when we get there, the Americans are good at regrouping along that center channel. I think the Australians are waiting far too long to move it back to that open middle and attack, or they're actually trying to go too far to the other side. So I think if the Australians pick up something, that might be a bit of quicker drives than that.
Yeah, I think you're right there. That the Americans are actually playing more individually and not looking for the pass to the teammate, whereas the Australians are looking for the pass to the teammate. It doesn't have to be a good pass to the teammate, but they're just looking to use the other players.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's the difference is that, like I said, I think that connection happening. As a coach myself, I make sure those passes are perfect. We practice perfect passing to make perfect practice, and so we can put it into perfect performance.
Yeah. As we see both teams go actually back to 6 players now. It was fairly even before when they were both back to 6, so let's see if the US can actually apply a little bit more pressure and actually get a goal.
Yeah, I hear you, Deb. Thanks again, and yes, and so did Mike. But I think Mike got a few bit air plays in some of the earlier games. So this is about you, Deb. This isn't about Mike. This is about you, and I want to make sure everyone understands that you have a lot to do with this young fella who's captaining the Australian side. I know he's a bit under the weather this beginning of the games, but he's bounced back in the true Gillespie fashion, and he's leading these boys to a 4-0 lead with about 9 minutes left to go.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of players in my under-23 men's team also get a little bit of sore throat and tickles like that. I know some of the other teams have also had some players out sick and actually had to sit them, so it hasn't been easy for a couple of teams. But that's part and parcel of why you bring people here.
Yeah, that's right, and that's why we bring spares. And there's a few teams that had a few injuries, and unfortunately they didn't have the spares. I feel for them. It is a bit chilly down here in Hobart. I think it's nice and sunny and warm where you would have been from, and you come down here and have this constant breeze. And today was a nice and sunny day, as it's already dark. It's 5:30 here in Hobart, and but this morning was sunny. But yesterday, how miserable was that? Wet, cold, and really cold.
Well, actually, it wasn't as bad as we expected, because we'd seen snow down to low levels probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Well, they're coming. I'm predicting tomorrow or Friday we're going to see snow down to about 800 meters on the mountains tomorrow.
So, this isn't as bad as a cold American winter in Washington D.C. Or some of the other states, but a little bit colder than places like Florida. So a couple of my boys are complaining.
Yeah, like my grandmother was from Sebring in Florida, and I used to visit her in our in sort of our school times in the summer and sometimes in the winter, and they always looked at us, the old white Canadians down here again.
Yep. As we look and we see Australia having the advantage here with another American, again, it looks like Calvin being sent.
Yeah, Calvin Chine got sent out again, and he's just grabbing his mask going, oh my goodness, I've done it again. But come on, Calvin, refocus, regroup, and get back in there and support your team. But again, we see the Australians pressing the Americans. This is probably the first game I've seen it in the opposition's half who have 5 players in all the tournament. So this is pretty good. The Australians are really pressing hard on the court to sort of see what they can come up with. But they're being repelled and held pretty strong to that strong line of American backline.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Australia look to move the puck from this, middle pool close side way across the other side to try and stretch those 5 Americans out, try and get some gaps. But the Americans have done really, really well here on defense. Stopping those Australian drives and maintaining possession as we look to see. Australia, again, trying to drive towards the goal, and it looks like it's popped out into mid-pool with a couple of Australians.
Yeah, the referee's saying, no, I'm sorry. You're a bit of an obstruction, and he didn't like the fact that he drove in, and he must have ran into an American defender, and it looks like number 4, Thomas Marsh, is being sent to the sin bin. And let's see what he'll do. He'll jump up and slide back and put his little butt down on the bench and regret that he actually swam into that American player. Shaking his head, going, I didn't think I did that, but let me tell you, mate, Hugo was there, and he saw you, and you've been punished.
I mean, it looks like he's got long arms, too, so he can probably reach around. And I've got short arms, and I find it difficult trying to compete against long-arm players. It's very difficult.
Yeah, go-go gadget arms are very helping the hand, and I'm sure that'll happen. So we're back at 5 aside. I think there was a timeout called by the U.S. team as coach is in there. Coach Holland, he's sitting there saying, guys, come on. We have 6 minutes, and we got to start putting some goals on the board or else. But Coach Clary's in there relaxing the boys, saying, let's keep focus. Let's try to limit the number of times we sit in that bin, because I don't know about you. Even though we've sort of seen a lot of turn of the tables, but, I'd rather be playing with 6 players than having half my team sitting over in that those 4 chairs on the other side of the pool, as we're saying.
Well, especially with the quarterfinals or whatever in the next couple of days, you want players to be rested, and having 5 players in the pool does rest 1 player, but those other 5 have got to try another 20% harder.
Yeah, absolutely, and we do see that when we're down to 5, everyone lifts a bit, puts in that little extra, but that's going to cost you some down the road, and let's hopefully it's not the as number 5 for the American team is being asked. I think that's Raymond Da. He's been asked to go sit, and unfortunately the vice captain will join his. It looks like they're going to swap. So number 7, Calvin, will get back in for his go, but taking his place is the captain, Raymond.
So the US here initially down to 4. As soon as the puck is touched, Calvin can get back into the pool, but he'll need to get back quickly because Australia looks like to be driving again to the goal.
Yeah, and Australia are about to get back to full strength, but good defense by the U.S. repelled that and taken it in the corner where they can defend it better. But look, there's some hunting going on there. And hold on, we got some elbowing.
By the Australians?
Looks like a bit of an elbow by number 6, Bailey Anar. Obviously, he didn't do it deliberately, accidental, because he's just being asked to back up the 3 meters. And the Australians are still 1 down, but I reckon this is going to be the touch of the puck, and they'll be back to full strength as the Americans take control of the puck, at least for the free puck, and we'll see how long that'll last.
Yeah, America will be trying to look to maintain possession, probably for another 30 seconds or so until their player can get in. And Australia, true to their game plan, look to be swinging it, try and stretch the USA team apart.
Yeah, and I think they must have heard me in the commentary box because they're swinging too far. Now they're actually seeing the Americans go try to intercept them in the swing, but they're cutting it back up on the inside, causing all sorts of havoc on the American defense. But I tell you what, that defense is doing a dandy good job, and they are getting a lot of stick candy in this one because their sticks are all over that puck and flicking it wide. You're lost for words, aren't you?
I don't know what to say to that.
Yes, I know it looks like we can just say the Australians look like they put another goal in, but we're waiting for the referees to make a call. And I'm seeing a timeout because Hugo saw something. It looks like a penalty.
Looks like penalty shot.
Well, it went in the tray, Hugo. But anyways, obviously occurred well before the play and the puck went in, and he was obviously he wasn't sure it was going to go in, but it did go in. But he's actually calling for a penalty shot. But number 4 there, I believe his captain, that's the captain, Quantum Zoo, is going to take that against the 2 Australians. And if I get a close up on the Australians, which I'm not going to get, and we'll see what's going to happen here. Quick take of the puck, but I reckon that should be a goal because he actually probably broke. And Mason, I'm not sure what's going on.
I think they both went down before the buzzer.
They both went down before the buzzer, so that's a break. So they're going to replay it. I guess that's the rule because they both did it. That's what Hugo's signaling.
So if Quantum just stayed on the surface when the Australian went down, he would have successfully defended it.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, I also saw him break from the wall too before Mason touched the puck, as Mason has taken the free puck, and away they go, and the referee's blocking it, so I can't see who's going. But the puck is in the tray, and we're saying no goal. Obstruction. That's a big call. Obstruction against 1 player.
And Australia getting a warning for obstruction.
Oh, I see what he's saying to Mason. Mason's put the puck underneath his arm and then drove it in with his shoulder, which you can't do. You can hold the puck here, but if he drove in with his head and drive in, and I think that's what Hugo is actually saying, the referee, but I think that's his claim, that he tucked the puck under his body and drove his body into the American defender, which you can't do.
And I think the other attacker may have also come across the front of him as well, so blocking the view for the...
Yeah, I didn't see the other player go in front of him, but you saw that.
I
so
think
she screened him. It's called a shepherd.
Yeah, shepherding. I think that's what Hugo was indicating with the movement of his hands.
Oh, okay.
But
I thought he was just T-boned him.
Yeah.
I saw a T there, and I thought he just T-boned him. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, it's very difficult for us to actually understand.
Australians have to suck that in, and I'm not sure. Maybe we can catch up with Hugo later if anyone's interested. But look, he knows the rules, and whatever he's called, it's the right rule. So.
Yep.
And he's convinced the other ref and the chief referee that what he saw was right, and everyone nodded and said, "Yep, that's right." So unfortunately, the Australians didn't score, and a good defend by the U.S.
Yeah, but it's the second half. It's the USA don't seem to be able to get the puck into the Australian end so far. It's just been all of Australia, as we see another big drive going in, but some frantic defense by the USA team as well.
Yeah, you're right, Deb. Thomas has been on the seat, but let's not forget he's a big lad, and he's a bit. He still hasn't got full control of his body, and the referees, and he just accidentally hit some people. And the escalation of the rules, he's been called on it a couple times, and that's all they'll tolerate. And he makes a call, blood, and he goes back on. And
so USA here looking to drive out of the corner, but the support is only sitting behind him, and you can see some Australian players there just waiting for it.
Ian, I want you to know that Decker Oakland reckons you're the best commentator, and he's nailed you as a New Zealand commentator and my favorite commentator, and named Ian. Well done, Ian.
Well, so Decker
I haven't got any praise at all. I must be lousy.
So Decker is actually one of my star wing forwards named Decker in my USA under-23 men's team.
Right, so we have a Kiwi coaching the U.S. under-23 team. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or you want to explain to the people that you're not just pure Kiwi, are you?
Well, no. So I have Australian citizenship and Great Britain citizenship, as well as New Zealand. But I coach the USA.
Man, we should make a soap opera of this one. As the Australians continue to press the U.S. backline in the dying 2 minutes left to go in this game, it's 4-0. And Deb, yeah, I agree. The boys need to nail this shut, but they got to do it cleanly because the referees are all over these guys, and if you don't do it that way, then the goals don't count.
As we see some more frantic defense.
A lonely fin there, floating desperately by itself.
Yeah, as we see a fin. Obviously, someone's lost their fin, and they've just subbed out.
That was very Kiwi of you. Fin. Fin, can you say 6?
6.
There you go. There you go.
Fish and chops.
Fish and chips. Hey, yeah, I'm with you, Deb. I'm doing the same thing here. Hey, Ian, here the Australians make a lovely swim. I can't see the number of that. That was lovely. Pulled it off the wall and snuck around the defense this time. Well done. Who is that? Heads up.
Like number 13.
13, Isaac Bridley. Just like his dad. Always thinking. Always moving around. And like Lou, very smart players. Both of them play field hockey. Isaac plays field hockey. Even their younger daughter, Philly, plays hockey, and she's one of the rising stars in Tasmania, and she went away on a nice European trip. And big shout-out to her because she's back here supporting her brother.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, she's a good hockey player. But what do we have, 5-0, 51 seconds left to go?
Yeah, I think the US will be a little bit disappointed they haven't scored a goal, but while they've had some opportunity to, that they haven't looked as fast and determined as the Australian team here.
Yeah, I think it's, again, I'll point to the consistency in what the Australians do on the second phase of the game is their connectivity to the forwards and the backs and with each other is much more stronger at this point in the game than the Americans have been. The Americans have shown outstanding defense. There's no question. They have answered a number of charges by the Australians. But once they get it out to that next, they get the puck back into they're moving into the second stage or the phase of the game. They haven't been able to make those connectivities, and when they start working on those, that's when they get the opportunities, Ian. And I think that's where the Australians had to have it over them at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think Holland's got a very good team, to develop for the future. That was the only team that we brought to Spain 2 years ago. This year we've also brought under-19 women's and under-23 men's. So, the USA program is coming along well.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And the game comes to a close. And thank you all the people on the live chat and enjoying it. And if you have been enjoying this free chat, please go to our website, which where you can go and donate some cash. Even $1 just for every game you watch is better than nothing. And I think we're already up to about $3,000. But Ian, what do we reckon? Why don't you want to hop on the deck and see if you can catch some of the boys for a bit of a public interview? Now I'm getting the dead sign from my technical director. He's saying sorry, no more times. Well, I'll go out and break it to it, and I'll point directly to you. So I'm going to go out there and tell the boys, sorry guys, we're out of time. We've got to go right into the next game. It takes us a bit of time in the commentary team to change over and do all that things. So I'll go do that, and we'll change over the groups.
All right. So just to confirm, that's Australia 5, the USA 0. A very exciting final round-robin match for the under-19 men's division. Thank you.